I think Africa historically has shown the world that it's able to leapfrog with regards to payments. For example, Africa was really able to leapfrog to a world where digital banking and the digital payment infrastructure was widespread before anywhere else in the world, with M-Pesa, for example, in Kenya and a few other examples across Africa. With artificial intelligence, I think Africa will be able to leapfrog, specifically the ability to be able to create content that is purely African, that represents the African continent, and to be able to effectively spread it across the world, build momentum for tourism, build momentum for education, be more able to educate with high quality on scale across the African continent in a way that is relevant culturally to the African continent as well. So the opportunities are there. There are many opportunities, but the time to start is now. I also believe that it is important for us to invest in the talent within the African continent and our respective countries and regions, because we want to ensure that they're not left behind in the wave of actually creating the artificial intelligence revolution.
Can you tell us about the impact of the EIs on the media sector?
I think the media sector is going to be one of the biggest benefactors of artificial intelligence around the world. The fact that today we're able to actually produce content at a much higher effective scale than we were able to do in the past. We're able to tailor it to the customer directly or to the reader directly, and we're able to translate it in any language in the world in the highest degree of accuracy, ensures that media entities are going to be able to distribute their content even more widespread. There is a fundamental need for the media outlets of the world to actually focus on being an accredited, trusted source for true information, because we will see a big impact of deepfakes on the media sector and on societies as a whole, and misinformation. So if your media entity is one that believes that they need to be the authentic platform where the true content is being distributed and you're able to actually showcase that to the world, you will be the biggest benefactor of this.
How do you evaluate the case of Latin America? What do you need to improve?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
What do you see in Latin America? What do we need to improve in terms of artificial intelligence?
So I think what we need to improve, and it's not a unique Latin American problem, this is a global problem. There are three things that we need to do. The first, we need to ensure that the content that was generated over the last probably 100 years is digitized, so we can use it to train these artificial intelligence algorithms. So let's say for the example of Latin American content needs to be, and that depends on the vertical or the country or the entity that is in Latin America. You need to digitize it to be able to feed it to artificial intelligence algorithms to train them. That's number one. Number two, there needs to be investments in compute capabilities to actually train these algorithms effectively and quickly. And number three, you need to build talent from the ground up, because you don't want to be dependent on talent from abroad to build the capabilities in your region or in your country or in your company. The viewpoint of the UAE is we are working to try to positively impact the rest of the world in the era of artificial intelligence by actually creating open source algorithms like JACE, like Falcon, like Noor as well. We are partnering with countries that do not have the resources like the UAE to be able to build homegrown systems for them that they can utilize. But I think there is also a need for these countries to focus on building talent as well.
Yeah, how we can encourage people in Africa countries to take advantage of technology instead of shying away?
So thank you for the question. I think it is not a truly unique African problem. It is a global problem. How do you get youth, how do you get people to embrace artificial intelligence? There is a big push, unfortunately, towards fear-mongering, letting people fear artificial intelligence because of the different rhetorics that we hear. There are some risky and challenging use cases of artificial intelligence that will create or wreak havoc across the world. But like any other technology, there will be incredible use cases and utilities of this technology. What governments need to do is continuously balance, give people the ability to be able to leverage this technology, while at the same time always try to proactively regulate. I'll give you a great example. Elon Musk talks about the risks of AI, and he's been talking about it for probably the last decade. But he's also pushing the envelope and pushing the forefront when it comes to artificial intelligence. He's actually building self-driving cars, AI systems, and deploying it to the world. Because this is what we need to be doing. We need to understand what the fears are, but also try to advance the good applications of AI across our countries.
Which sector in your country you prefer to using artificial intelligence?
Within our artificial intelligence strategy in the UAE, we have a motto, and the acronym is BRAIN, BRAIN, building a responsible artificial intelligence nation. And when you talk about responsible AI, you talk about non-controversial uses of AI. You talk about uses of AI that will improve quality of life, not just productivity, because many people are looking at AI as a tool to increase productivity. We think that productivity is secondary, quality of life is first. And then finally, we want to ensure that we're able to actually provide a better infrastructure for people across the UAE using AI. So we're using AI for energy, for example, production. We're using AI for infrastructure in the UAE. We're using AI for logistics. We're using AI to effectively make the work of government more efficient.
Why you organize Ministry of EU AI? What is your advice for European countries, for the European Union?
So why we have a Minister for Artificial Intelligence and Strategy is very simple. If you look at every single technological revolution over the last 200 years, every single time there is a technology that has profound impacts on society, there was a ministerial position that was created. So when we were using wood, fire, and coal for our energy, there was not a single minister of energy anywhere on earth. When energy production became so important for economic prosperity and for social prosperity, there were ministers of energy that were actually appointed across governments. The same is true, by the way, for aviation. When airplanes were invented, before airplanes, there was no minister of aviation. Now there are ministers of aviation. There's also ministers of ICT, ministers of telecommunications. So every single time there's a new technology that comes out, if it has such a big impact, there's a ministerial position that is created. We did not want to wait to follow someone else. We said we will lead the charge. We will try to benefit from this technology. We will regulate against the bad and see what comes out. Absolutely. I think the displacement is not just going to come from AI purely. It's going to come from robotics. It's going to come from artificial intelligence. It's going to come from technological development, regardless of which vertical it is. Right? Because as technology evolves, people unfortunately at times lose their jobs. What is the role of government? The role of government is to reskill these people, to retool these people, to actually let them use these tools, and to also guide them to understand where their future lies. If you think about it, is the reason for us to have certain jobs that today are not effective for societal development as a whole? So if you look at certain jobs because of artificial intelligence, today social media platforms created social media influencers, social media managers. Did that exist in the past? No. What should governments do in this phase? They actually should try to give people the ability to forecast that future, to reskill their jobs if they were going to lose it in that field. So if you are a journalist that's going to lose their job, but there are social media influencers that are going to come up, social media managers, social media strategists, how should the government help you go into that role is the first question. And second, what are the platforms that people can use to reskill themselves and be able to create jobs in that ecosystem? That's what we should be doing.
Okay, guys.